And number 49 in section 4, they ask us to solve this equation for F degrees Fahrenheit. And we're supposed to give a reason for each step. So for this video solution, we'll demonstrate two slightly different ways we could have solved for F. One way would be to first eliminate this 5/9 factor. We can eliminate times 5/9 by dividing by 5/9, which is multiplying by the reciprocal. Notice we'll get 45 45ths, which is 1. So for reasons, we began with the given. And next, we multiplied both sides by the same thing. So the reason, the multiplication property of equality. For the last step, in order to isolate F, we'll do the opposite of subtract 32, and we will add 32. So on the left side, when we add 32, we leave it like this, because these are not like terms. And on the right side, when we add 32, we're left with just F. And the reason, that was the addition property of equality, because on both sides of the equation, we added 32. And you don't need to show that. You're welcome to, if that helps your reasoning. But getting from this blue line to the next blue line, we use the addition property of equality. And now that we've isolated F, we've done what they asked for. We've solved the expression for F. All right, so I said there was going to be a slightly different way we could have done it. Let's look at this other way we could have done it. As usual, we begin with the given. The next thing we might do is use the distributive property. So 5/9 times F minus 5/9 times 32, which is 160 ninths. All right, that has a reason, and as I said, we call that the distributive property. All right, how about the next line? Well, remember what we're trying to do is solve for F. So let's work to isolate it. First, we'll get rid of this minus 169ths by adding 169ths to both sides. We'll add it to the left, and we'll add it to the right. And when we add it to the right, it's gone. So the reason we added something, so it's the addition property of equality. Next, on the right side of the equation, as we're trying to isolate the F, we want to get rid of 5/9. So we can do the opposite of times 5/9, which is divided by 5/9. However, you learned in arithmetic that when you divide by a fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal. So we'll multiply the right side times 9/5 and the left side times 9/5. So our reason there, the way we got to this step is we multiply both sides of the equation by the same thing. That is the multiplication property of equality. And so what is F equal to? F is equal to 9/5 times C plus 160 ninths. And we can stop right there. Why? Because once you isolate the variable F we are trying to solve for, you're done. So we could leave it just like this. You might be saying, but that doesn't look like the other answer. And I'd say it is algebraically equivalent. Let's suppose you wanted it to look like the other answer. You don't have to go beyond this gray line, but we could. We could use the distributive property again and do 9/5 times C and 9/5 times 169. And guess what you get? You get 9/5 times C and 9/5 times 169. So the 9's will cancel out. We'll be left with 160 over 5, and 160 divided by 5 is 32, which is exactly what we had when we did it this way. So algebraically, I'm not sure what you prefer from your algebra experience last year, but I prefer it this way. You might have started with the distributive property, and maybe you prefer it this way.